The idea was to bring the Nouveaux Commanditaires, New Protocol, into some relation to what's been happening on this continent for now at least 2 decades, if not longer. So in order to simplify matters, my idea was to have representatives from Creative Time, which is an organization that has been in existence since the 1970s and that has had an especially global reach since the 1990s, and put them into dialogue with members, representatives of the Nouveaux Commanditaires, in order to understand some of the differences as well as similarities. But maybe you could tell us, what is the New Protocol?
You have to understand first that it's an art piece. It was a piece proposed for use by an artist, Belgian artist, François. So it's a way to go from heart to heart with an art piece which will generate other art pieces through a process which is a process of commission. A mediator, somebody involved in the art field, will propose him to have a dialogue with an artist he will choose. This triangulation between a commanditaire, it's difficult in English.
Commissioner, patron.
I think the best is to keep commanditaire in French. Commanditaire, an artist, and going between, a mediator. And it's the best way to create a good relation between society and art.
But it seems to me there's a crucial difference in the approach of the New Protocol, and that is that the work of art begins with a demand, a command, a demand, a request, some idea on the part of a community, however it's formed, that art is needed. This seems to me a major difference from the projects of Creative Time, but also many other approaches that we see on this continent, where, yes, the desire is to connect with communities that are outside of the art world, and in fact to do a kind of activist work in the world, often involving efforts of social justice. But the conceptualization of the piece and the occasion of the piece is provided by the artist and often by a kind of supporting art institution. So it comes from the art world into the world, whereas in the Nouveau Commanditaire, the New Protocol, the request comes from the world, and then there's a mechanism to connect those people to an art world that is, yes, very much a world of its own and isn't normally connected to them. Is that fair?
Yeah, you describe exactly the big difference between the two situations. One here, where the artist is the first actor on the stage, and in Europe with this program, this Nouveau Commanditaire process, where the society is, or members of society are on the stage first. Everybody is at the same level. But you can be involved in it.
Right.
It's like a dream for people, because they thought it's completely out of them. And when they think like this, there is no more this problem of is it art or not? Is this proposal something which is a fake, or which is a provocation only, or is it a real something important thing? This problem is just like a smoke.
The boundaries that define people are being crossed all the time. So people who have had very little contact with contemporary art are being given a kind of very rapid lesson in how art works. But also the artists, precisely because this is really coming from somewhere else, not from a kind of art institution context. The artists are being forced to work under a set of conditions that I think is uncomfortable for them often. What comes through in the videos is the extraordinary eloquence of all the parties involved. Anyone watching those videos has to be impressed at the level of awareness, developing awareness that's being expressed on both sides, on all sides. And often the response that's given to these videos is, well, you know, in a European context, people are aware of art in a different way. They have a more sophisticated conception of art, even if they don't understand all of its workings. They believe art should exist. And these are all premises, cultural premises, that do not exist on the North American continent.
Because now with the world situation, the globalization, everybody is under the pressure of the TV, the net program, the same images, the same consumer use. So I think everybody is now in the same level. And even if you can see, for example, in Italy or in France, that the art is still something in real connection with people's life, okay? But now the things are like getting like this, and the difference is not so important.
I find counterparts to the commanditaire that one sees in these videos. For example, the two men who run that center, that social center in Bordeaux. I know many people in this country, not in New York, not in LA, but in regional places running community centers of that sort, who would have very similar thoughts about how art might work in this context. I really just think it's a myth that Americans are uninterested in art. Yeah.
I think that the new protocol is something that is important for artists, also for their own way of thinking art and their development inside their own practice.
I would almost argue that that fraught relationship never quite resolved between the freedom of the artist and the constraints imposed by the circumstances of a commission really produce great art.
Art Square.